So let's rearrange our idea about death and about life and about the purpose of life. That God created physical life that we might know ourselves, that we might understand who we really are, that we might experience our divinity, and that we might express that divinity in, as, and through us. And that when we die, we go through a 4-stage process. The first stage of death is when we come to see that we are not our body. Now, I've had a couple of out-of-body experiences in my life. I've had experiences in my life, actually 3 of them, where I was able to look down on my own body and see, oh my goodness, that's not me. I'm over here. That which is observing is over here, and my body is over there. I looked like a wax figure or some kind of a doll lying there on the bed. That happened to me 3 times in my life when I've had out-of-body experiences. Many people have had experiences like that. Well, that's the first stage of death as well. It's a small death. And the first stage of death, we understand that we are not our body. We come to an experience of it. It's not just an understanding. It's not just an awareness. It's an actual experience. I'm over here and my body's over there. I'm not that. Then we move to the second stage of death, where we realize that we're not our mind. And we realize that because we realize there's a part of us that's thinking about what we're thinking about. I mean, think about it. Have you ever had that experience? Have you ever watched your own thoughts? Have you ever thought about what you're thinking about? Have you ever said to yourself, don't think like that. Don't think those things. Well, who do you think is doing the talking? Who is that? If you're your mind, who's talking to your mind? What's that? And when we have the experience that we call death, we become very clear that the part of us that's talking to ourselves is not our mind. It's something larger than our mind, which can observe our own mind and comment on it and interact with it, actually. So the second stage of death is when we understand that we're not our mind. Now we see that we're not our body and we're not our mind. We go to the third stage of death when we realize we're not even our soul. We're not even the individuation of the only thing there is. We're not even a separate, identifiable entity, but rather we are one with the only spirit that there is. And so we relinquish in the third stage of death our thought that we are a soul that is somehow other than or somehow separate from, and any lasting thought of separation, any fleeting idea that we were other than the ocean goes away and disappears from our reality. Even as a wave, once it expresses, falls back into the ocean and no longer even experiences itself as a wave anymore, but it experiences itself as what it is. Fully, completely, absolutely part of the ocean itself. And so we fall back into the ocean of life, if I could use the metaphor. In the fourth stage of death, we return to the only thing there is. We return to the oneness. We become, again, one with God. Now, I've experienced that in my life. I've experienced that in one of my out-of-body experiences, and I can tell you the bliss of experiencing that, not just knowing it intellectually, not just understanding it conceptually, but embracing it experientially. The bliss of that is indescribable. And that's the fourth stage of death.